BlackRock, the company that owns the world. When the government bailed out too-big-to-fail giants like Bear Stearns, AIG, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac during the 2008 meltdown, who did they hire to analyze and clean up the mess? Another giant financial firm called BlackRock, led by a well-connected billionaire named Larry Fink. Let's dig in. Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about BlackRock, the company that owns the world. With no competitive bidding and complete secrecy, BlackRock was awarded these key government contracts to assist with the meltdown. Basically, Larry Fink was hired to manage Washington's bailout of Wall Street, despite the fact that BlackRock is a major shareholder in the same banks that were bailed out, making Larry Fink the most powerful man in the post-bailout economy. Fast forward to the 2020 pandemic. Who did the U.S. money printer, the Federal Reserve, hire to run their scheme to buy corporate bonds, essentially bailing out corporations with too much debt to withstand the pandemic? You guessed it, BlackRock. Despite the fact that the same corporations that BlackRock was assisting in their bailout were the same corporations in which they have some of the largest stakes, Larry Fink was the most powerful man in the post-bailout economy, and now he's arguably one of the most powerful men in the post-pandemic economy as well. And yet, despite his immense power, the general public has virtually never heard of him, with BlackRock barely making the news during the recent claims that they were buying up single-family homes. That's because Larry is smart, and he spent the last 33 years building, turning BlackRock into the world's largest asset manager, with over $9 trillion in assets under management, not billion, trillion, with a T. BlackRock's clients today include ordinary people's retirement accounts in the form of pension funds, as well as sovereign wealth funds, other central banks, college endowments, Fortune 500 companies, and millions of individual investors. They're one of the largest shareholders in many of the world's most well-known publicly traded companies, including Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, and even major banks like Wells Fargo and Chase. And to put their $9 trillion into perspective, the world's 300 largest pension funds only hold a combined $6 trillion. Vanguard is the behemoth behind mutual funds and exchange-traded funds. BlackRock trailed behind with only $7.1 trillion under management, while the big three asset management firms, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, control a combined $15 trillion, roughly equivalent to nearly 70% of US GDP. Larry Fink is a former investment banker and author of House of Cards, an account of the Bear Stearns collapse, has done all of this largely in the shadows, with only a few rare interviews and appearances on CNBC. He's like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, as William Cohen puts it. This is BlackRock, the world's largest shadow bank, and according to some, the most powerful financial institution on the planet, perhaps the company that owns the world. When Larry Fink was asked by Bloomberg if it's true that he's the most powerful man in finance, the man responsible for $9 trillion tried to persuade you otherwise, that I don't think of myself as powerful. Is that true? Does BlackRock own the world? The statistics for BlackRock are quite impressive. They were named the world's most influential financial institution in 2010 and had $4 trillion under management in 2014, making them the world's largest asset manager. For comparison, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China had only $3 trillion at the time. BlackRock's assets have more than doubled to more than $9 trillion in the last 7 years, and it seems like they're involved in almost everything these days. They're a major shareholder in some of the world's largest publicly traded companies. They were approved by the Chinese government to set up a mutual fund in China in 2020, making BlackRock the first foreign asset manager to be approved for this. They also have shares in companies all over Europe, including industries like energy, oil and gas, transportation, food, and of course, finance. Here's the best part. Because of their staggering size and power, BlackRock has what's known as circular ownership, which means they own shares in companies that own shares in BlackRock. This isn't a conflict of interest, so they're literally everywhere. Due to the fact that they operate largely behind closed doors, BlackRock has been named the world's largest shadow bank. What motivates someone to construct something of this magnitude? Larry Fink is regarded as someone who knows markets inside and out and understands business backwards and forwards. Friends have described him as obsessive and paranoid about maintaining control. However, he had to suffer a massive loss of $100 million to get to this point. Larry graduated from UCLA with a degree in political science and began his career on Wall Street at the age of 23. Having an advantage in politics would later help him become the de facto go-between for Washington and Wall Street. He received offers from some of the top investment banks, but chose to start in Boston, where he worked on bond structuring and trading, which sounded incredibly interesting. He quickly rose from the ranks, and within a decade, he had become something of a Wall Street legend by helping to develop the debt securitization market, which allows loans like car loans and credit card debt to be packaged and sold. Mortgages would be bundled together, sliced up, and sold to other investors. If this sounds familiar, it's because these are the same mortgage-backed securities that caused the financial crisis in 2008. But before that, debt securitization was considered revolutionary, and it changed the face of finance overnight if you're a large bank, pension fund, or other institution looking to invest in the housing market. You can now buy mortgage-backed securities, or MBS, that is made up of thousands of presumably safe loans. He was hired by the U.S. Treasury to clean up one of the main tools that led to the meltdown. His interest in policy and strategic wizardry helped him gain a reputation as a true investment mastermind, and he was rewarded for it. Larry was making money and winning awards, and at the age of 31, he became Boston's youngest managing director in history. Many speculated that he might one day run the firm. In total, he contributed about $1 billion in assets to First Boston's bottom line. But the rising star came crashing down shortly after one of his biggest wins. Larry's company lost $100 million due to a missed call on his hand, which resulted in trades being wiped out, as well as the hedges designed to offset those losses being wiped out. Larry went from hero to a toxic asset that should be avoided at all costs overnight. He was shunned. Larry was forced out of the company. He spent 12 years making around $1 billion for after his reputation went up in flames, and his colleagues refused to have anything to do with them. While a disaster like this might spell the end for many people, it didn't for Larry. Instead, he used it as motivation, vowing to never be in the position where he didn't understand the risks he was taking again. And in 1988, at the age of 35, he co-founded the Blackstone Group with now billionaire investor Stephen Schwarzman. They started with a $5 million line of credit. Fast forward to 1993, and they were crushing it with $20 billion in the bank. But there was a power struggle between Fink and Schwarzman, where two super strong personalities collided. The two parted ways, and Larry went on to found BlackRock, channeling all of his pain and trauma into rapidly growing the firm. By 1999, it had gone public for $375 million, and by 2004, it had merged with Merrill Lynch, bringing BlackRock's assets to $500 billion. While BlackRock's size is impressive, what really sets them apart is our software platform called Aladdin, which is essentially a supercomputer that they use for their clients. Aladdin is a network of 5,000 computers that BlackRock uses to monitor millions of trades and perform risk analysis on their clients' portfolios 24 hours a day. Aladdin is so widely used that it serves as the central nervous system for many of the world's largest investment management firms, and in order for them to provide the service, they must be given access to sensitive data from the banks, insurance companies, pension funds, and other important institutions all over the world. This high-end computer firm simulates every possible scenario and pinpoints any potential problems, allowing their clients to make the best investment decisions possible. And that's all for today, guys. Enlighten us with your thoughts, share them with us in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon for more amazing videos. And thank you for watching.